but let's try and understand what's happening really within the job market, and who better than Pawan Goyal, Executive Director and CBO at Naukri.com, joining in to highlight exactly that. Mr. Goyal, hi. Great to have you on the show. Give us a little bit color on where is it that you see the job environment right now and how it's different from, what we've seen in the last 3 years.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me over. So job environment it's flattish on an overall year-on-year basis. But as you parse it, there are several stories that emerge. The sectors that are doing well are tied to the domestic sectors. So for example, FMCG is growing 17% year on year. Oil and gas is at 14%, travel hospitality at 8%, healthcare 8%, and BFSI is also doing very well. IT, which is, while it was on declining trend in last year, it's now flattened out. It's flat year on year. And however, if you look at the last 6 months compared to last 6 month trailing, there's a marginal uptick. But it's still too early to say that the IT decline is over. The third thing that when we look at job environment that shows up is non-metro, the Bharat part of India is doing better than metros. So while metros are flat, cities such as Ahmedabad, Baroda, Coimbatore, they are doing much better. Finally, this unprecedented demand for AI and ML. This is because of the generative AI work that we are seeing all over the world. There's a 37% year-on-year growth for AI ML professionals. Another trend that we see, while demand for inexperienced talent is muted, demand for 16 plus year experienced talent is growing in double digits. So those are the 5-6 macro trends that we see in India. So domestic economy, things which are tied to domestic economy is what is driving job market at this time.
Okay, so clearly the domestic economy is what is driving the growth in terms of the recruitment and the job market right now. But on IT, I specifically wanted to talk to you about that. It's been a couple of months that finally there's a bit of a semblance of recovery. Could you say it with conviction that the worst is behind, it's bottomed out, and from here on we'll only see positive figures, or it's still very difficult to call that?
So we are not seeing it become any worse. It's flattened. I wish my crystal ball I had a crystal ball as to what will happen in future, but we are not seeing it become worse at this time. So it's sustained at flat for several months now. So I'm optimistic that it will grow from here, but we don't have any basis to predict which way it will head.
Do you expect material improvement, at least in the IT hiring, by the end of the year? I understand, of course, it's a bit of a crystal ball gazing, but at least you'll have to go with some assumptions for the year. So what's your expectation, at least by the end of the year? Will it stabilize further and get into the growing part?
So if you look at utilization of IT services companies, for most of them, they are at all-time high. So if that's an indication, we expect material growth to kick in later part of the year. Now, there is no definitive evidence, but anecdotally, we have started hearing of growth in US market. And usually when growth in tech hiring grows in US market, it has an impact in India subsequently. So looking at IT services utilization, as well as some of the early indicators from US, there is reasonable basis to think that the growth should come in later part of the year.
Encouraging. Mr. Goyal, do you think that even as a skill set, in particular when it comes to IT, that AI, ML, all of that is going to be very critical and non-negotiable to a certain extent?
Yes, it is. Now, you may not need to be an AI engineer, but you need to learn how to use AI in pretty much all parts of the business. So we are seeing that in our business, and we are seeing it in our customers as well. People are using it in sales, marketing, operations, core engineering. It's across the board, and it will be a key skill that any white collar worker will need to have.
Okay, fair enough. Give us a sense as well as to how you're looking at the overall situation in the country, given that unemployment clearly was one of the key factors in the election this time around. Do you think skill development and steps to spur employment is going to be big on the agenda and something that will be very looked forward to as well?
Yeah. So unemployment is clearly an issue on people's mind. However, I do want to bring to your attention some data that we see on our blue collar side job here. The salary levels or compensation level from some of the blue collar jobs are higher than the compensation level of some of the white collar jobs. So unskilled jobs paying higher than white collar jobs, and perhaps it indicates more of a mismatch in terms of aspiration and skill rather than fundamental job availability.
Wow, that's interesting. Can you build up on that when you're saying that the compensation for blue collar jobs, which is unskilled in that nature, is much better in certain pockets than white collar? Which are those jobs?
You look at delivery boys. The expected compensation is around 40,000 rupees a month. And if you look at F&B managers, you look at accountants, some of those salaries are in the 25,000 rupee range. So very, very, I mean, when I looked at it, it was surprising to me as well. But that's where we are.
Interesting, but yes, I think all of those side gigs are converting into proper gigs right now as far as some of those industries are concerned. But just shifting focus to what else is happening in terms of the overall business, because this year was exceptionally weak for the employment business per se, because a lot of IITians we were hearing were hunting for jobs. The salary packages were very low this year. What do you anticipate, let's say FY25? Will it see slow and steady recovery? Or it could be a year wherein we'll be seeing completely different picture by the end of the year?
So I don't know whether we'll be in a situation similar to when we had the great resignation wave. From all indicators, the worst is behind, and we see a gradual improvement in the market, in the hiring market. While fresher hiring was impacted earlier in the year, we've started seeing signs of increased fresher hiring as well.
That's all we wanted to discuss today. Thanks so much for making time and speaking with us today.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.